we don't love each other. We love each other when we see ourselves doing lovely things, or love ourselves when we see ourselves. There's this saying, I have to love myself first before I can love others. I think that's backwards. That we have to see ourselves loving.
Love you in order
and then
to...
what feels better than generative care to somebody?
Yeah.
And I guess to the extent that we were doing things for each other, it felt like I was the mature grown-up buying these kids endless bikes and stuff like that. But they really, we were in it together. I was in a low moment. They were all going through their challenges.
Yeah.
And I think it was because it was low moments. You just have to be vulnerable. Like there is an absolute need to reach out there. You quote Paul Tillich, that he has this line that moments of suffering interrupt your life and remind you you're not the person you thought you were. They carve through the floor of what you thought was the basement of your soul and reveal a cavity below. And then they carve through a floor and reveal a cavity below. And so in those moments you're aware of depths of yourself. And you realize that only emotional and spiritual food will fill those depths.
Yes.
And so you're open. And I used to have back in my Valley days these deep spiritual experiences. Now that I'm happy, I have fewer of them. But I don't know if I'd make the trade. I think I would make the trade, rather be joyful.
Your wife, Anne, is really good at what we're describing. Anne is like really lovely in the way that she kind of expects every person in front of her to be poetry. Like that's how she treats them.
Yeah, that's
she
well put.
Imagines beauty, and then I think that gets reflected back to her.
The phrase everyone uses about her is incandescent. So there's a light there. And I think what I've learned from her is that we think the most important part of getting to know a person is conversation. And that is to be a good conversationalist is super essential. But before you get to that, you have to be really good at gazing at the person. You have to bring the right kind of attention. If I bring a cold or objective attention to you, you'll feel cold and objective. But if I bring a warm and loving attention, you will bloom. And so the story I tell is I was in Waco, Texas, and I'm meeting this woman named LaRue Dorsey, who was a teacher, a strict disciplinarian. I'm having breakfast with her at a diner in Waco. And she presented herself to me as a strict disciplinarian. She's like, I love my students enough to discipline them. And it was like, boom. And then this mutual friend of ours walks into the diner named Jimmy Durrell. And Jimmy's a pastor, wonderful guy, teddy bearish guy, about 60-something. And the homeless wouldn't come to his church, so he built a church under the highway overpass called Church Under the Bridge, where the homeless were. He is a homeless shelter. He really is a beautiful, beautiful human being. So he goes up to us, and he goes up and grabs Mrs. Dorsey by the shoulders, shakes her, way harder than you should shake a 93-year-old, and says, Mrs. Dorsey, you're the best, I love you, I love you. And this strict disciplinarian turns into a 9-year-old girl with just bright eyes. And so the moral of the story is pay attention to people more like Jimmy and less like me. But the one point is he's a more valuable personality than I have. But I think the deeper point, and I'm going to say this for people who have faith and people who don't have faith. So Jimmy's a pastor. And so Jimmy's, when he sees somebody, I hope, he sees someone made in the image of God. And when he looks at them, he's looking a little into the face of God. He's looking at somebody with an immortal soul of infinite value and dignity. He's looking at somebody so important that Jesus was willing to die for them. And you can believe Christian, Jew, Muslim, atheist, but having that kind of respect for a person and conveying that kind of respect with your eyes is an absolute prerequisite for getting to know somebody. Because like when we meet a stranger, they're asking, am I of value to you? Am I a priority here?
Yeah, that's right.
And those questions are answered with the eyes, not with the mouth. And so I think when Anne, she just carries that out there. So with her eyes in a nanosecond, you think, okay,
I'm an important person.
I'm an important person. Yeah, I'm valued.
Exactly.